Hey guys, Kyle here, and today we're going to be doing an oil change on my 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8. So first off, you're going to come around, obviously open up the hood. Alrighty, so basically all I have to do right now is just change the oil. I'm a little over, so that ain't too bad. But I'm going to go over what type of oil I put in my Jeep, the type of filter I use, because there is a difference between the 2006 and 7 years, and mine's a 2008, which they did change the thread on the oil filter, so I'll go over that as well. But yeah, it's just a DIY on how to change your oil on your own SRT8 WK1. Alrighty guys, so the Jeep's all jacked up, ready to go. So now let's go over here. Okay, so what I have laid out is everything that you pretty much need to get this job done. So the Jeep, in this case, it's the 6.1 Hemi, so it does take 7 quarts of oil. And right now, since I do live in Colorado, I have 5W40. And if you look over here in your manual, it says recommended is 0W40, but here in Colorado, it doesn't necessarily get past negative 20 degrees, or at least I hope it doesn't. So they said 5W40 actually is okay, so that's what we're ended up going with. And then if you go over here, the oil filter I'm going to be using is Mopar MO899. And the thing about this oil filter, if you actually open it up, there should be a small little indentation right here that says 22 on it. So as I said before, they did change the oil filter size right here, the thread count. So make sure if yours is an 08 or up, then make sure you do get the 22 millimeter, because they did change it. And I do have a link in the description that'll describe everything you need to know about when they change the oil filters and then which ones to go for. So in my case, since it is an 08, I am going with the Mopar MO899. So on top of the oil, obviously the oil filter, make sure you check your manual. I also have a 13 millimeter open end, deep or shallow, doesn't matter. Oil filter wrench to take it off. And another trick that I learned up were these little rubber like jar openers. They actually come in handy for when the oil filter actually is pretty tight. You can just toss it on there and then twist it with your hand if you can use manpower. But if not, I'd recommend one of these just because they are a little bit easier. So all right, let's get started. Alrighty guys, let's head underneath the car. Alrighty, so you're gonna take your 13, and then this is gonna be your oil drain plug. Alrighty, so after you get done with that, just clean it up a little bit and then you should be ready to go. Alright guys, so after you're done actually draining the oil, let it drain for about 20 minutes. Now we're going to move on to the oil filter. So if you look where my hand is, the oil filter is right here. And you know it's the oil filter because if you look down here, there's actually a little runoff where as soon as you take off the oil filter, it's just going to drain down here and then right into your oil pan. So it actually made it pretty easy to actually drain the oil from there. So let's go ahead. And I did loosen it ahead of time. So just gently take it off and then watch it drip. And then I like letting it drip for a little bit before I actually take it off, just so it makes less of a mess. So then let it drain for a little bit. And there we are. And then like I said before, make sure that it is the 22 millimeter thread, just because like I said, they did change up the years from the newer to the older ones. All right, and then I always like comparing the two, make sure they're right. Yep, so the 22, so we're good. Okay, so then I always take a little bit of the old oil, rub it around the O-ring. And then now we're gonna take our oil And then always pour just a little bit inside. And then make sure it gets all the way throughout the filter. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go back underneath. Alrighty, so I like cleaning it up a little bit. And then make sure you actually clean the surface where the oil filter is actually gonna go on. Just a little bit. Clean all this up. Alrighty, so I got my old one up. Hold on, let me get up in there. Okay. Okay, go ahead. It's a little tricky. And then, like I said, you could use that piece of rubber jar opener, and that helps you tighten it a little bit more. And that should be good. Alrighty, and then next is to put the drain plug back in. Always start it really quick. Clean it off a little bit, and then hand tighten it first. Grab my socket. And give it a good tighten. And that should be good. Alrighty guys, so like I said earlier, it does take 7 quarts, so this is going to be 5, and then obviously I'll put in a little bit more afterwards. There's 5. Okay, so now I'm only gonna put in 2 more quarts, so I'm gonna go all the way down to here. And then come up here on a flat surface, check it. So that was about 1 quart, so I need 1 more quart. Check again. Just a tiny bit more. And that should be good. Alright, so after you're done filling it up, just put the cap back on. And then you're all set. Next step is to start it, make sure there's no leaks, and call it good. Oh yeah, before I forget guys, just a quick tip. For your old oil, it's a lot easier just to put it back in container that you just filled up with your new oil, and then make sure you do write old oil on it, and then make sure to dispose of it how you should at your local auto parts store.